So you remember those stimulus checks that came out earlier this year in 2021? Not the ones before then, because I never got them, but the $1,400 ones. You remember those? I mean, the reasonable thing people would have done with them is, you know, pay off bills, get a little bit more out of debt, maybe even, I don't know, like buy some necessities. But I have a feeling a lot of us didn't do that. I mean, I really didn't. I used my $1,400. I looked at it, I saw what I had, and I'm like, well, you know, I'm doing a lot of freelance video production stuff this year, and I'm gonna need some new gear. And $1,400, I can buy me a nice, I don't know, maybe a lens. So I got to researching. On some lenses to get, and originally I was going to go with a full cine lens kit from Mica. I'm actually shooting on a Mica lens right now. I'm shooting on the Mica 12mm f2.8, and that was my original plan. A full cine set of lenses would have been $1,000 for, I think, 3 lenses, and that's all I would have really needed at that moment in time. It would have replaced every single lens I already had, as I have like 2 wides that are fairly close. I have this 12mm I'm using now and a 14mm that's over on the GX. And then I also have the 25mm from Panasonic that I feel like everybody buys. This is like a go-to for the Micro Four Thirds system. It's just a good lens to have. And I also have a 42.5mm lens that I actually have somewhere else right now. So if I would have went with cine lenses, it would have replaced that entire kit. But I didn't do that. Instead, I started looking at maybe getting a fast standard zoom. That would have replaced a good bit of my lenses, and a lot of the stuff I'm shooting is very quick, I need to get the shot now. And I also very much rely on autofocus a lot of the times. A lot of times I don't have the time to focus on the focus. So for me to just switch into autofocus on a lens while having a relatively fast aperture would have been fantastic. So I started looking at what Panasonic had to offer. Because while I shoot on Panasonic bodies, it would make sense for me to get a Panasonic lens to keep the autofocus integration together. But then I stumbled upon something. I stumbled upon a review. And this review changed my mind completely when it came to buying a Panasonic lens. The review was by a YouTuber called McNabb Storytelling, and the title of the video was Best GH5 Lens for Documentary Filmmaking. Now, I don't have a GH5, I have a G9. But it's relatively the same, so I watched the review, and it was of this. The Olympus 12-40mm f2.8. Now, as you can see, I have a focus ring attached right now to it. It's attached along it because I do have a Nucleus Nano follow focus that I've had for, I think, over 1.5 years now, and I just now am using it. Yeah, that was bad timing on that purchase, but oh well. So I watched this review, and the one thing this reviewer mentioned that no other reviewer was mentioning was the fact that this lens has a manual focus clutch. Now, a majority of lenses are fly-by-wire. That means I can spin this forever and it will never stop. And that this is not a one-to-one motion when it comes to focus. Now, if you're doing photography, that's okay. And if you're only using this lens with automatic focus, it really doesn't matter. And if you're focusing in on a set subject that's not going to move and you don't need to move the focus you don't need to move the focus while you're filming, fly-by-wire is fine. But here's the thing, I do a lot of motion stuff. I need to be able to have full control over my focus, and this non-one-to-one BS with fly-by-wire was not flying. Here comes the party piece for this lens. Watch this. It clicked down. Now I am in a fully manual focus mode with hard stops. One stop there, one stop there, with a 1-to-1 focusing mechanism. Right then and there, I decided I am going with this lens. Simply because of the fact it had a focus clutch. Had nothing else to do with the optics of the lens, had nothing to do with the quality of the lens. It had everything to do with the fact that this had a manual focus clutch with the ability for me to go between a full hard stop manual focus and a fly-by-wire autofocus. It was amazing. I literally, this was the only lens I was thinking of then, because no other Panasonic lens had that. No other third-party lens really had that. And it covered, honestly, a wider range than the Panasonic version, which I think is a 12-35, which you would think that 5mm offset isn't much, but when you're trying to get so many different types of shots, from going for a full wide to a full 40 to bring that background and expand it out to get that different look because of your focal length, this was a no-brainer. And I mean, there's some specs too I could knock off and tell you guys, like the fact that it's has 14 elements and 9 groups, and it's weatherproof, which is actually really, really good. And it has a close focus distance of 0.2 meters, and it's 382 grams, but I don't care about the specs because I only care about the functionality of the lens. We could go over specs all day, but what it comes down to is in practice, and in practice, this lens succeeds in everything I need it to do, and is the reason why I spent the money on it. Without further ado, here's a sequence shot on the Olympus 12-40 f2.8.
I just wanna
There's not much I can really say about this lens. I could go out and do a field test of it, but there's other YouTubers who have done field tests of this lens. I could go more into depth about other things with it, but really it came down to the functionality for me. The versatility and the way this lens works is fantastic. I can rig it up to my gimbal and it balances pretty well. Like between 12 and 25, the actual barrel of the lens doesn't move that much, which means between 12 and 25, my gimbal is relatively balanced. And even if I go towards 35 and 40, it still remains relatively balanced. And this is just a fantastic handheld lens too. I've shot stuff for my work with it, where I'm shooting people on stage. And before then, we were actually using the Sigma 18-35, which is a very, very common and very useful lens. But I felt like I could never punch in enough at certain times. This lens lets me do it, and I get about the same exposure level as I did with that lens, which is very weird considering that was going through a speed booster. It's a weird thing that I don't know why it does it. It just does it. But anyways, overall, this lens is fantastic. You can use it anywhere. It is one of my favorite lenses. I literally am thinking about selling the rest of my Panasonic lenses and even the mica lens and getting rid of them and switching all over to Olympus style lenses with this focus clutch. It's fantastic. And as a videographer, it's what I need. I can't fully speak to photographers on that aspect because, I mean, it's nice to have that one-to-one, but it's really a big video feature in my opinion compared to photography. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Also, I hope you guys like this new little setup where I added this little shelf thing where I can put both cameras that I use into here, and then I can also put my lenses up on top, as well as this old thing. I need to fix this, but oh well. Anyways, if you guys want to go and pick up this lens, I'll have a link down in the description. It is not an affiliate link because I'm not a part of the affiliate program, but oh well. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Take care.